Welcome everybody to episode number 4 of the Tummy Whisperer podcast. I'm super excited to be here. I'm just going to turn my cell phone down here and make sure we're not disrupted by my cell phone. So hello everybody out there in Tummy land and podcast land. I'm super excited to bring you episode 4 today. Today we're going to make it nice and simple. We're going to dial it back. We're going to talk about food triggers. So for those of you that are like, oh yeah, I may have some of those. For those of you who don't know what food triggers are, there are certain foods that you may be eating that could be causing some crazy symptoms. And those symptoms can be anything from feeling of just full all the time or always hungry. Like, do you ever eat, you know how like after Thanksgiving, you're like so full, but you could probably eat more? It's like, what is that?
It's like after I eat Chinese food, every time you eat Chinese food, you're hungry an hour later.
Yes, exactly. Well, part of that is there's an air traffic control center in the brain called the hypothalamus that is actually sending the messages to the tongue to be like, hey, Janine, like we need a little bit more like, Kung Pao over here or a fortune cookie with like money in it or something, right? But so certain foods will cause any kind of symptoms. Again, we just talked about being too hungry, being overly full, having the appetite be kind of erratic, to digestive dramas, gas, bloating, constipation, diarrhea, acid reflux, heartburn, just horrific, horrible bowel issues, nausea, that feeling where your just throat is kind of like tight. Those are the tight feeling in throat definitely can come from certain foods. So I wanted to sort of just kind of throw that out there for everybody and say, hey, there are so many times that something that you may be eating could be a big part of why you're feeling crappy or not feeling great, or your bowel is running too slow or running too fast, or you feel bloated after a meal, or you feel bloated in between meals, or you feel bloated first thing in the morning on an empty stomach. Why would that be? So I could definitely blame peanuts and peanut butter. So those of you that are listening, if you love peanut butter as a snack, which who does? Oh, Janine, every time I do these, she's covering her eyes. She's like, oh my God.
It's like a food group for me. No, Renee, seriously, peanut butter is a food group.
I understand. For my husband too. I mean, I had to take it away from him lovingly. And like, he had to do it himself actually, because his symptoms, right? His horrible symptoms. We dial it back and he put it in again and peanut butter is okay for some people. It is. But for some people, it's not. So if you ever feel throat issues, tingly, bloated, it could also cause sleep issues. Nuts and peanuts, I'm picking on them, but they are something to look at. What do you replace peanuts and nuts with? Sunflower seeds, or maybe pumpkin seeds, or like macadamia nut is kind of a lower histamine nut when eaten in moderation. And here's another thing. What's moderation? Janine, your moderation is different than my moderation. Like you probably have more wiggle room with your body than I do with mine. I really can't mess around in the middle of spring when the histamines are skyrocketing in the air and my body's like, okay, you better dial it back, girl. But in the wintertime, when there's not a lot of histamines and airborne allergens, I can maybe have a little peanut butter without too much of an issue. So again, talking to you guys about what these food triggers are there, and there's a million of them, and they can all relate to your particular symptoms. So like I said, even just peanut butter alone can cause throat stuff, feeling of nausea, which is a histamine response, bloating, gas, slow the bowel down, run the bowel 90 miles an hour, depending on what your body, how your body processes or doesn't. Can you have a little spoonful from time to time? Probably.
I put a little spoonful, Renee, in my oatmeal in the morning, and I love it.
Yeah. I mean, well, you probably don't feel bad. Like, you don't feel like it closes your throat or
no.
Or it causes you horrible gas or bloating. Yeah. So you
I
are
mean, my
really lucky.
husband would argue. He thinks everything causes gas. So, I mean, I don't know what to tell you there,
Well, that's a
but
guy
I
thing. I
mean,
think guys and
yeah,
gas, it's always like,
totally.
but yeah. So, and then again, I just want to make it really simple today. I want to just talk about these foods that could be a quick, easy snack. What would you do for a snack if peanuts are an issue? There's a lot of different choices. You can have maybe a rice cake and some hummus, or if you're wanting something sweet, a rice cake with some sunflower seed butter and a little like raspberry jam is perfect. In fact, I had that last night when I got home
Mm.
from doggy trick class, which by the way, Rook can now speak and roll over. It's so cute. I'll have to send it to you. My
He's like a
guy.
show dog. He
Oh,
really is a show
far
dog, by
far
the
from
way.
it, but he is my guy.
So cute.
My little beagle. But yes, so that could be a nice sweet snack if you want something savory. You can do like some seed crackers with some hummus, or seed crackers with a little guac if you're not real sensitive to guac, which is another food that's a little high in histamine, cause some issues. So
So,
avocados.
avocados, really?
Yeah. They can't, avocados are one of those things that like, I think people, when I work with people and I'm talking to them about gluten, they're like, oh, I can hear it in their voice. But mention avocados and they're like, it's like I ran over their dog or their child. Avocados are so yummy and everybody loves them. I would say less is more with avocados if you have digestive issues. And it doesn't matter if you have a histamine issue or not, but avocados are one of those things you don't want to eat them overly ripe. You don't want to eat them every day if you have digestive
Hmm.
issues, and you don't want to eat them a large amount of them. So, like for me, I can tolerate a whole small one a couple times a week, or half of a large one a couple times a week, not overly ripe. If they're sitting in the fridge for 3 4 days, you know, they're done. Just like people that make banana bread, they always do the overly ripe bananas. The longer the bananas are sitting, the more histamine they become, and they can create more symptoms. You were going to say something, honey?
Yeah. What are the biggest food triggers? I mean, it's different for everyone, but what are like the
Yeah,
main ones that, like peanuts, I'm sure would be like a big
peanuts
one for a
can
lot
be.
of
I mean,
people.
for the people that come across my desk, nuts, dairy, and a lot of people do know that too. But it's like you need a 12-step for dairy because like who? Even last night I'm leaving class and I'm like, God, I would love to have like a Culver shake. Just cold and creamy. It's
Ah,
hot as hell yesterday, and I didn't. I came home and I had like some fruit, and I was like, oh, this is perfect, and it was fine after I got over myself. But dairy is one of those food can be. I don't think I don't think anybody can really tolerate dairy. I think people convince themselves that they can because they don't
hmm.
die when they eat it. But the cow protein molecule is large, very large, and as our human DNA structure, I don't feel like we recognize it as well as maybe a baby calf would. So we're the only species that drinks another species milk. No other species do that. So
Yeah, it's a little bizarre. And I look back on my life and think, you know, my parents' generation, you had to have a glass of
some
milk with
milk
your
with your
dinner.
meal, yes,
I mean, it's
yeah.
so gross and all the hormones and all the stuff. It's like, why would I choose like why are you shoving another animal's milk in my digestive system?
Well,
Why? I don't understand it.
not even the hormones. I mean, there's pus and blood in dairy because those cows are old. Their poor udders are torn. If you really look at the way milk dairy is processed, there's blood, there's pus in there. You're
Oh.
drinking pus and blood. The first time I ever said it to Mark, he was like,
Ah!
he stopped. And that's my nice way of being like, do you really want to eat dairy? But when it's like frozen custard form, you're not even thinking about it. Like, oh, because once in a while I will do a Culver's and I'm like, la 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 la. I don't know myself.
Renee, that's like I don't think I'll ever eat dairy again. So thank you for that. I
Congratulations. Job well done on my part. No,
do you not do you are you like dairy free? Look at me. I'm like messing with my hair today. Are
yeah,
you
I
like
mean,
completely dairy free?
like 99.99999. I mean, like if I have dairy, it's maybe once in a blue moon. I can't though because I have thyroid issues, and dairy can bitch slap the thyroid. So for you ladies and gentlemen who have thyroid issues, definitely watch dairy, and gluten's a big one too. But again, people need help kind of rolling out what the gluten-free and dairy-free items are that taste good. I really love the company Violife, Violife. They're a Whole Foods company, and for those of you folks that are listening that aren't really near a Whole Foods, maybe most grocery stores are so nice if you bring a picture of it to the manager and be like, can you order this for me? I've never heard of a grocery store being like, we're not going to carry that. Like they'll special order it. Most grocery stores really want to help. And what do you have in Florida? Do you have, what's your grocery store there?
We have a few now. I mean, it used to be just Publix and Winn-Dixie and then Albertsons, but
Publix.
now we've got Sprouts and
Oh, yes.
Aldi and Whole Foods and Trader
So
Joe's.
Trader Joe's, Sprouts, I think would carry, and Publix is, I mean, last time I was in Florida was when Mark and I got married, but Publix had a lot of gluten-free and dairy-free stuff, and that's already, we're going on like how long are we married? Almost 8 years, so I'm sure they carry a lot more, but there's a lot of, the food has come a long way, baby, since 3, 5, and 10 years ago, and it keeps getting better and better. In fact, I just made German cucumber salad, and in the other day, and in German cucumber salad, you have to use dairy, like a sour cream. So I was at Woodman's looking around. I was like, I'm going to try this Kite Hill organic, dairy-free sour cream. And it was very good. It was like, you mix the cucumbers in there, a little salt, pepper, dill, a little bit of onion. I mean, and then I threw it on top of greens, and I put some grilled chicken on it, and it was.
I need that recipe. I'm going to a potluck barbecue on Saturday.
I actually have it pinned, not pinned, but I have it at the top of my Facebook page, and I can actually send you a picture of the Kite Hill dairy free if you want to try it. Like
that
for anybody who's
amazing.
Like, because if you go to that potluck and people are like, oh God, that looks good, I'd love to try it, but I can't have dairy, you'd be like, here you go.
Absolutely, dairy free, and then it'll be gone in a matter of seconds.
Well, and I'm telling you, like I said, the products have come a long way. So back to like how we can handle some of these food triggers, what are the replacement items? It's always about replacing something too so that you have stuff to eat and that you're not feeling starving and stuck and looking for something like, I can't have that, I can't have that, oh, I can't have that. What can you have? There's so much to have. I mean, even on a vegetarian diet, there's plenty to eat, and vegans who choose to be vegan for whatever reason, I applaud them. There's still plenty to eat. I mean, they're already dairy free anyway. But
so what are some good snacks, Renee, that someone could, if they have like other than like sunflower seeds, that someone could just take that are easy, that they could take with them, that's portable?
Yeah. So I don't love corn so much for people that have an inflamed GI tract, but there's a lot of really good. I wish I could like put them in the chat. I'm going to I'll put them in I'll put them, I'll post them on my Facebook page in this video here so people could see them. But there's a company called Garden of Eaton, Eatin.
I'll put it in the chat. How do you spell it?
Garden, Garden, Garden of Eaton, like I'm eating, Eatin. And they make a delicious gluten-free little chip that's like a low oil, and it feels like an air popped chip, and it's made with sweet potato and black rice, and it's like a low histamine little snack. So I love those. Those are good. There's other little chips that you can have if you want something crunchy and savory. If you want something sweet to take with you, there's a lot of good bars out there. I like the Go Macro bars. Have you ever heard of those?
I've seen them, but I've never had them.
The Go Macro bars.
That.
Oh, I love the Go Macro bars. There's a heartwarming oatmeal chocolate chip. Oh man, there is some sugar in there. So these recommendations definitely are not without something. They can't be this perfect food with zero sugar, although you'll get a lot of that on Facebook, like the 0% zero sugar bars now, but they're all full of nuts. You got to really watch that if you have a sensitivity nut. So I like the Go Macro bar. I love the company called 88 Acres. 88 Acres makes a nut-free bar that's made with sunflower seeds, pumpkin seeds, a little brown rice, and dark chocolate little chunks. And when you want something sweet, oh, does that hit the spot? It is really good. 88 Acres dark chocolate sea salt bar. The brownie one is a little hard, so texture-wise, I don't love that one. The dark chocolate sea salt one, though, when you want something sweet, It's amazing. So Go Macro, 88 Acres. Those are my two faves, my two go-tos. More savory options could be, it's hard with the savory options for to go. But like I'm saying, if you need a little crunchy, salty, you can have like
Mm-hmm.
even like bag of celery with some of those chips. I actually just bought from Amazon a car cooler that plugs into this. I call it the cigarette lighter. It's what it used to be, but plugs into the outlet. And it's a cooler that you don't have to put ice packs in. It's like a little refrigerator cooler. So if you're going on long trips, it works as long as your car is running, and it stays cold for up to 2 hours afterwards, which is nice. So if you're thinking about, a lot of my clients travel for their job, how can they have food in the car? Either a cooler or like a little to-go cooler, some chips, some hummus, some vegetables, some fruit to go with your 88 acre bars. What else do we have? If you're at home and you're looking for a snack, I'll take I like the company Siete. They make a tortilla that they make an almond flour tortilla, which I don't do because of the nuts, but they make a cassava flour tortilla, which is pretty decent. And
Ooh.
they make a garbanzo bean, which is a chickpea flour tortilla. And they roll nice. They don't break. Some of those gluten-free tortillas they break.
Mm-hmm.
So what we'll do is we'll smear a little avocado on there, or one of the dairy-free dips on there. I'll put some turkey slices on there
Mm.
with some sprouts or some arugula, and you got a quick roll up for a snack.
That
Delicious.
sounds fabulous.
It's easy. And
So good.
yeah. And for the people that really have an issue with vegetables, and I know a lot of you out there do, and you wish you could have some vegetables without having to run to the bathroom, there are certain vegetables that may be safe. And if we start kind of rebalancing out the digestive system, you make room for more of the vegetables that you'd love to eat. So again, without good digestive, balancers that may be including specific enzymes and things like that to start balancing out the gut, it can make it harder to break your food down. And vegetables alone don't naturally have vegetable digesting enzyme in them, right? We have to actually add a little bit of vegetable digesting enzyme to break those down. And some people need more help with that.
Or people cook their vegetables, right? So they cook
Yes.
a lot of the fiber. It does not cook the
Soften
fiber
it.
out. Soften,
Yeah, they
right?
soften it. And that's okay. That's perfectly fine to do. Yeah, some people do better with the steamed, cooked vegetables, and it's easier on their GI tract than raw. I know for me, like onions are fine raw, but I definitely feel like they're better if they're cooked on some level, heated up in whatever dish I'm having. So it just really depends on your particular body. And then that window of tolerance too of what's not okay now, as you start to break your food down better and start working with the diet, starts to increase over time and increase over time and expand. And
Mm.
we want to start thinking in the mindset of what we can expand to. Do a little work in the beginning of changing what we can do, and then we work with our threshold. What is our threshold, right? Can we tolerate a little bit of peanut butter on a cracker or something occasionally? Probably, or probably not. Or maybe over time, yes. Over time, it doesn't bother you because your diet's cleaned up enough to the point of where your body doesn't have to respond.
You've given us such great tips, and now I have to rethink my grocery list because I'm always thinking, what's easy, what's easy? And that's how I gained 50 pounds because what is easy is to go through a drive-through or to go to a convenience store at a gas station and maybe grab something, peanut butter and crackers. Yeah, that's my producer. That's David. That's my producer for my show.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and that's
So,
okay. But so you could also arm yourself at the store with maybe a different, like a rice cracker or a rice cake, and grab some sunflower seed butter. There's a company I like called Once Again. There's also the regular Sun Butter company. I do recommend organic. You want to have less of a toxic load going in. I don't know these days if it's truly organic, but I always, fantasize that it is because you never know what's going on in our food these days. But you can really change it up as long as you're armed in your kitchen. Because if you're armed in your kitchen, guess what? You grab stuff out of the cupboard and you're on the road, and you can take it to your office.
it's like a mindset, right? It's the
Yes.
preparation, and if people really care about their health, they'll make those necessary changes because they know they're going to feel better when they
Well,
have them.
not only that, not only that, I always tell people, you're already at the grocery store. You're already buying what you like. See if you can find it in a dairy-free option, or try to have some fun in exploring something that might be new. And yes, some of the stuff tastes like shit, but a lot of the stuff, right? I'm not going to lie. A lot of the stuff is really more than a pass. I mean, it's delicious. I really have been very impressed with how the companies are really taking heed to trying to work with all of our sensitivities.
So true. It makes me rethink everything, Renee. As far as what I'm going to buy, what are some healthier options that I can even keep here at the studio that will be
Yes.
helpful. And
Yes.
the dairy free, I think, is a great idea. That recipe about that salad with dairy free sour cream, I think, is such a great. If MacGyver, if he hears the word sour cream, he like cringes because of, IBS and all kinds of issues.
Oh,
So, and lactose intolerance. So like for some people, they just like avoid eating out in public because they don't
oh,
know like what's in what, and they don't want to take the risk.
for
And,
sure.
you
For
know,
sure. I mean, Mark and I are that couple, not Mark so much. It's more me. If we're somewhere and we're both kind of out eyeballing stuff that's on a table, like we know this might be okay or this might be okay, or we might eat before we go and bring something as a,
mhm.
as a peace offering of, here, try this dish, which is stuff, we bring a big enough portion of it so that we can eat it and like have enough to eat. Or like my friend had a birthday party, and I brought gluten-free brownies from Whole Foods, and they were a hit. Like everybody
Ooh.
loved, they were like ooey gooey chewy, and like people were like, this is gluten-free. Like I got them from Whole Foods in the frozen food section. They were good. I don't buy them a lot, but I'm saying there's plenty of stuff. And for MacGyver, he doesn't have to avoid it. He's, like I said, I'll give you some of the recipes, and it's easy to do. That Kite Hill sour cream, I'll actually take a picture of it and throw it in the chat here, on Facebook.
Yum.
So yeah, people can give it a try. Give it a try. You do have to add a little bit
Sounds nice.
of herb to it,
Kite
like
Hill.
Kite Hill. Yeah, Kite Hill is a great company. They make a lot of vegan. All their stuff is vegan, and they make a lot of stuff with nuts. So be buyer beware. If you can't tolerate nuts, you don't want to use their cream cheese and things like that. But Veal Life also makes a dairy-free cream cheese. It's made from like coconut, a little bit of potato starch.
Mm.
It's very good. They make it like a cheddar one that uses like that nutritional yeast, and
My
again,
smoothie's made with oat milk, and it's
perfect,
delicious. And
delicious.
it's delicious. It goes down easy. It digests well.
Yeah, so MacGyver could totally have that because it's dairy-free. Is he a smoothie guy?
Not really. He's more like he has to eat it. He's like a meat
He's
and potatoes guy. He's got to like physically eat to
physically
feel like
chew. Yeah.
right, right. I think it's more of a mental thing, but
Yeah. Well, I'd be happy to send you some recommendations, girl. And like I said, I'll put some in the chat here on Facebook and some of my favorite go-tos. And if you're armed with some, I always tell my clients when we start working together, at least buy this stuff and give them a try and see if you like it. That's step one. Buy a few things, see if you like it. You're like, yeah, this is pretty good. Then that's your new tortilla or your new bread or your new cracker. And then if it's like a gas station, you're like, I'm starving, I'm out. Oh my God, what do I do? You just do the best you can. And if you, for many of my clients too, lightening the load, lightening the burden of the inflammatory stuff makes a wild difference too. So for someone like you, Janine, who doesn't feel horrible all the time, but you definitely have your level of inflammation that you feel, lightening your load, your toxic load, lightening that digestive burden could be a really big help for you for sure.
I love these suggestions, Renee. You are just a plethora of knowledge, and every time I am so thankful that I get to be a part of your podcast because I learn as we go. I learn so much. So
No,
I thank you for that.
you're welcome. It is my joy to, give information to people who are struggling and need some help. And, I love doing what I do. I think it's just so important for people to have some help and have somebody to be able to
Mm.
bounce ideas off and give them some direction in whatever way feels comfortable for them. So it's not always about just restriction. And for some people it is, but restriction with trying first, seeing what works. seeing what you like, seeing what that mouth feels like. Does it taste good? Does it need a little this? Does it need a little that? Is it a total pass, or is it like, oh my God, I'm never going to buy that again? In fact, Mark just threw out a bread that we bought, a gluten-free bread that I bought many months ago. And I was like, oh, we hated it then. I had forgotten about it. I'm like, I saw it in a TikTok video and I was like, oh yeah, that bread, I'm going to try this recipe. And I bought it and I made us sandwiches one night and Mark is so sweet, my husband. He was like, honey, it's pretty good. And I'm like, this tastes like wet shoes. This is horribly pretty good.
Like wet shoes.
It's just disgusting. Wet shoes that have been in like a green river or something that's like, thick algae. I mean, it was just horrible. I just was like, there's nothing that can make this taste good. Nothing in the world would make this taste good. And I'm pretty tolerant. So that's what I'm saying. Get stuff to try. See how you do. See how you like it. Buy a few different styles. And if you like it, you're lightening your inflammatory load by having less for your body to have to digest, absorb, and get rid of the cellular waste. Always be thinking in terms of what goes in must come out, what is happening as a result of food not being digested, what's happening as a result of inflammatory food being eaten. So you want to really be as kind to your body as you can and take a little baby step. So take a baby step at the grocery store next time you're there and get some of these things and give them a try and see how you do and let me know.
I love it. I'm going to buy those Go Macro bars. I'm going to try everything. We've got the 88 acres in the chat, the Garden of Eden, the Go Macro. So we put some really good things out there for some suggestions for people. So thank you.
You're welcome. And just a caveat on the Go Macro bars, they do have a lot of nut ones, peanut ones. So if you guys are just joining the podcast later, I was being snarky about peanuts and people that have digestive issues. So the heartwarming oatmeal one is a good one. There's a sunny berries and cherries one that's delicious on Go Macro, and there's a sun butter like cacao one. I'll throw the picture in there of the 3 safe ones for people that have maybe some bloating and some things around histamines if they're having issue. For sure.
Why don't we do a live cooking show too? We can make something.
I mean, oh gosh, no. That is no, but I could have a guest on that can do it. I mean, they would be fun to do like 5-minute recipes. Like the prep time is like 10 minutes, and then boom, it's like the cucumber salad. Cut the cucumbers, stir in the vegan sour cream, throw some dill in there, a little salt, pepper, like boom, it's done. I put some radishes in there too, just for some spice. It was really good. It was good. So yeah, and you can get creative. That's what I do in the kitchen for dinner. I'm like, what would go with this? I don't think I'm that creative when it comes to like a lot of things, but for palate wise, I kind of feel like that would be good. Even when I'm making salad, it's different every time. It's not just your typical carrots and cucumbers, and we make it, you can add some fruit in there if you want to have a little sweet and tart. You can throw some meat in there if you're not vegetarian. You can have different styles. Like sometimes I'll even put squash and asparagus in to kind of give it some weight. I mean, there's easy stuff to do. And I guarantee if I didn't have the dog and had to cook the vegetables and the sweet potatoes for him, we probably would starve. So thank God for my dog. Thank God for my little punchkins.
I love it. This has been great, Renee.
Thank you. Well, always great to see you, honey. And I'll look forward to seeing everybody next week. In the meantime, everybody, make sure you're chewing your food and drink your water, preferably in between meals. But if you're forgetting, have a little glass on your desk. You can throw a little basil and cucumber in there to make it taste good. And then it gives you that sort of summer refreshing feeling. Watch the citrus, though, for people who bloat a lot. Bye for now.
Bye, guys.